Alright guys, Scrappy here again today. Hope you're all doing well and enjoying your day so far. The drama is not going away in the Call of Duty League at the moment, with some massively important series tonight for World Championship qualification, but yet again for the second match in a row, Las Vegas Legion causing major upsets, taking down OpTic last weekend, 3-0ing at the New York Subliners today. Is this team legit? Are Sib and Dashy correct when they reckon this is all online cheese? Very much interested to your thoughts in the comments below. Hit the like button if you enjoy, subscribe if you're new as always, I would greatly appreciate it. No time to waste. This was our first series of the day, Seattle Surge versus Boston Rich, and you got to recognize when you watch these series, it ain't about watching the best quality cards. We're just here to be entertained. And that is what Boston did, as always. And Surge are a fun team to watch anyway. This was a fascinating start, though, because Major Maniac surprised me by coming out of the box absolutely fine. Had a great start to the map one, but I knew this wasn't going to last. And this is how the game concludes. Snoopy gets absolutely spun on here, by the way. The problem is for Boston that their season is over. They're not making the World Championship. It's done. So if you're any of the players on that team, are you really playing to win these series? Or are you really playing to try and maintain your spot in the league for next season? That is probably the case for a lot of teams in this league, let alone the teams that are effectively eliminated from the World Championship. So I think that's probably what's going on here, because you look at this scoreboard and you think, are we sure this is proper cards? Look, Boston don't know how to play good fundamental cards. This is no surprise. But you've got to wonder whether performances on this level are anything to do with trying to look good for the camera, shall we say. I think Kremp calls it playing for green, i.e. playing for your numbers to be green on the breaking point stat sheet. And we'll get into that here in a second. So the game ends, by the way, game one. Before we get into that rest of the control or whatever, the search and the control, Boston map one had 95 kills. Surge had 94, so they outslayed, they outslayed the other guys. Major was 29 in 16, Priestahh, the other guys were negative, but Major had a good start, and then he continued that good start statistically. But Surge win this game by over 100 points, right? So you got to think, well, what exactly is going on there? And I think we saw a further response here. Yes, Hicksy says, I just don't know how you outslay and lose by 100. Hicky's a player, by the way, that's watching very intently these games, because he was a player that I don't know if he was in consideration, but he's a player that should have been in consideration for this Boston team. I think they probably should have given Hicksy a go, because at least he knows how to play COD on a reasonable level. You never really know how it's going to work, but of course, champion of last season during Toronto, came second at the World Championship. Surprised, absolutely, that he didn't get a spot this season, and I felt like if Boston were going to make a change, certainly from the SMG side, Hicksy was one to consider, but now their team is just a shambles. Kenny responds, and Dashy responds, basically saying, yeah, I can't believe what I'm watching either. And Surge are in a similar boat. They win the game too, because obviously, Boston don't win any search and destroys. This is the issue for Major Maniac, right? Is that he joins this team. They were pretty good in respawn. This is the frustrating thing with Boston. Their respawn was not even bad. Like, they were genuinely competitive in respawn with like every team. It's just they would lose every single search and destroy. So the plan was, okay, Major Maniac, well known as a good search and destroy player. Maybe that's true from like a philosophical point of view, but it's not like Major's search and destroy numbers historically are like mega. It's just his teams tend to be pretty good at search, but the issue is with Boston that nothing works at this point. Hook was dominating this control, and it was very swiftly GG. They did win a couple of rounds here, but in the round that mattered, in the round 5, Hook continued the takeover. Beans tried his best, as he often does. Beans is really good in control. Okay, sure, he makes mistakes. Everyone does, certainly players that play at a high pace like Beans does, but 32 in 21, I think he went in the ends, and that is the 13th straight defeat for Boston Breach. This is pretty funny for Brent's stats here, actually. The last times that a Boston sports franchise lost 13 in a row, the Celtics 2007, the Patriots, the Red Sox, and the Bruins had never done it, but the Boston Breach have, baby. That's 13 in a row, and it ain't stopping anytime soon. This is their run. This is the record, by the way. They've tied the records with the Paris Legion in 2022. And guess who they play next to potentially break the record all time? I'll give you guys a couple of seconds to guess. It's Atlanta FaZe. Their next game next weekend is against FaZe. So, well, we shall see. But Paris's record at 13 series in a row is very much in jeopardy. Look at all the Game 5s they lost. And the issue is, ever since the Game 5 loss to Minnesota, which effectively put the final nail in the coffin of their champs situation, they've won 0 maps. Like, it feels like since they knew it's chalked, it's now, it ain't about winning anymore. It ain't even about winning maps anymore. What the hell do you do if you're Boston? Because you've got, what, 4 series left, plus the one that you're going to play at the major and get bopped out of losers probably. You know, you've got a few weeks to figure out what the hell are you going to do with your roster next year, because Beans is undeniably CDL quality. Snoopy, I think, is CDL talent level. Is he, you know, complete package CDL ready? That's another question. So what do you do if you're Boston? You've got a few weeks to try and figure it out. But of these 4 players, how many do I think will still be on the team next season? I think probably only 1. I don't even think they keep 2 of these guys. They may keep Snoopy and Beans +2, but I'm just not... I think they need to blow it up and build around 1 individual. To be honest, whoever that is, we'll see. Maybe Beans gets bought out or something. I guess time will tell. And as O4 says... Like, what was that? What were we just playing against these boys? This is funny from Serge as well. How many roster changes till he finds his true love? The 20 versus 1. Here's Snoopy with some of the guys that he's been with. You know, Doug, we got Pentagrxm, we got Slasher, we got Asim, we got Capsule on the left-hand side. But they cannot seem to find anything that works. And Priestahh had a rough one today as well. He's moved roles, right? He's on the SMG now. It was maybe worth a try, but it just ain't working right. And yes, New York Subliners are not the team that they were last season, but with the performances that Priestahh is putting up on a regular basis, you gotta wonder whether, yes, New York haven't won like they did last year, but in hindsight, was it the worst decision? The jury is out on that, but my feeling is that had New York kept Priestahh, I don't know if they'd be any better than they are today, shall we say. But the next series is very interesting indeed. So Seattle win, Hook drops to 1.6, you know, it is what it is. But this was the real dramatic series in terms of what it means for Vegas, because they played New York Subliners, they go down early in the game 1, and they bring it back to win, emphatically really on the 6-star, 250-199, but they brought a big comeback as we see here. They were down 70 points. They went on a mega run to end out the game. So this Vegas team, they beat OpTic the other weekend, and I genuinely thought that Vegas played really well in that series. They had an interesting series against Toronto. I think they got 3-0'd, but the maps were kind of close. Then they played OpTic, and they beat them in 5. Sure, were OpTic taking it that seriously? Did they feel like there was some cheese afoot? Yeah. But, you know, New York knew what to expect. They know Vegas are coming out swinging. They know Vegas are going hard for that World Championship spot. They know that Johnny feels like the missing piece they were looking for. He comes into this team. We know that this attached Geo Nero trio is good. They were showing out with Purjay. They just needed somebody, not a seam, to fill that gap maybe better than Purjay was doing. Okay, I'll just call him Purge again, in terms of slaying against the top teams. And Johnny comes in and he slays against the top teams. And he seems to do, okay, maybe not quite all the comms that Purge might used to do, but he's been a great acquisition, and it's cool to see that Johnny got 1 league match in the Major 3 qualifiers, got 1-2 matches, whatever it was, at the Major, and then they realised, Vegas, you know what, we're not going to blow it up again. They could have done, they could have blown it up again. They didn't. They committed to Johnny, and it's working out. Attach finds himself in a 1 versus 1 here against Kismet. Attach makes the play, as he so often does, to win the 1v1, take Vegas the map 6-4, and in this one, I genuinely didn't feel like they were getting reverse swept. When Ravens played FaZe, I thought there was almost a guarantee they were getting reverse swept up 2-0. But in this one, I genuinely thought, you know what? Vegas are playing with immense confidence right now. New York are probably kind of shook. And Vegas are, like, actually legit. They go into the control and they demolish New York on their best control. Like, this is New York's haven at times. It's been their best map, really. Like, high-rise control has been one that you don't really want to play New York Subliners on. But Vegas just take them apart. A quick 3-0 in the control and a quick 3-0 in the series. And here's Johnny, by the way, the bottom right-hand side. Pop in another emote. I didn't see too many people talking about this, but obviously he dropped the emote the other day against OpTic with the L emoji for Pred. And here he is doing another Fortnite dance. So this is comedy, to be fair. I actually really want to root for these guys right now because they just seem like a very likable team. And, well, they're making it rain on the main stage. The question is there anything more to this, right? Because are Vegas all of a sudden a dynasty, you know what I mean? Like, are they up there with Prime Complexity, Prime OpTic Dynasty, you know, Prime Atlanta FaZe and Cold War and all this? Like, no, let's be realistic here. But are they better than they were? Yes. how much of it is online cheese is my question. My feeling tends to be that the online stuff isn't as big of a deal as it is often made out to be. Yes, there may be some online advantage happening with the server locations because, again, New York based in Texas, they, I believe, will have played again on the Virginia server. This was the server that was played against OpTic by Vegas the other day. And the thing is with the Vegas guys, they're all over the place, right? Attach is based in Dallas, where most of the pros are. Geo, I'm not sure where the other guys are based. I'm pretty sure that Nero's in Columbus, Ohio, possibly. I think that's where he is. I don't exactly know where Geo or Johnny are. Johnny might be New Jersey way. Geo, I don't even know. People say that Geo plays on cable as well. Like, this guy doesn't even have fiber. So I don't really know, this is the argument, that the guys that are based in these, 1,000 up, 1,000 down facilities, can they really be complaining about the internet? Well, obviously, they're up and down and ping doesn't necessarily matter when it comes to the server locations, but this was the argument made the other day that OpTic series against Vegas was kind of cheese because they were playing on this weird server that seems to make Vegas godlike. And it seems like that Vegas played to the same server against New York. So, as Dashy says, well, as he zooms in here, Virginia, right? So he's like, here we go again, that Virginia server. And Sib says, look, I'm crying. GG, guys, back in the lab next week. So very clearly, Dashy and Sib are not convinced these Vegas guys are any good at all, and they think it's all server advantage. We shall see, come the LAN event, what might actually be true. But I think watching these series, Vegas are better. They might not be, I don't think on LAN they're going to be placing top 4 or anything. At least that time will tell on that one. And there probably is something to what these guys are talking about, but I still will be fascinated to see what happens when the tournament gets underway. And this is incredibly big for Vegas, right? Even if it is online cheese, who cares? They're putting 10 points on the board against big teams, and their games only get easier from here. Johnny says, GG's 1-3-0 was showing how we play. Attach was ice cold. GG's New York 1-3-0. And these were the numbers. It just does feel incredible that they outslayed, what is this by 26, 32, 40 kills, outslayed by 40 against New York, outslayed by, I think it was 57, 58 against OpTic, but whatever it is, it's 100 kills. They've outslayed by 100 plus kills pretty much against New York Subliners and OpTic Texas in the last week. Like, that is the best stretch of matches that Legion have ever had in their history as a team. So, you've got to think there's something going on. Even if it is a bit marginal, but I think we'll see when they play other teams from other locations on different servers, and certainly at LAN, we'll see who's actually telling the truth on this one. But the final series I wanted to talk in this video was Ravens versus Thieves, and this was an absolute barnstorming series, right? Game 5, round 11, don't get much better than this, especially because of how critical this series was. This was an absolute must-win for Ravens. They came into this series having lost 3 game 5s on the bounce, and I told you guys earlier today this was going 5. Like, I could not see any other outcome. I should have put some money on it going 5, because I feel like this was the most obvious thing ever for this series to go the distance. Ravens take the map 1, they lose the search and destroy, they lose the game 3, they win the game 4, and honestly, this game 4 was really impressive from TJ and Gwyn. Gotta say, TJ is he the most improved player this year? What do you guys think about that? Because TJ has been so good. He's really good at this game. Like, straight up, TJ is really good at this game. You watch the way he plays, he's putting up numbers, he's putting up damage. Like, the guy's been on fire. Him and Gwyn, like, when they're both playing well, are genuinely a deadly SMG combo in this game right now. And Clay said in the post-game interview, we know we're better than Thieves. It's just a matter of showing it. And, well, they finally showed it, but boy, do they have to work for it. I gotta show a couple of minutes really of this. I just wanted to kind of play this in the background, exactly how we got to this point, because it's 5-4 in favor of Thieves. They were also up here 4-1, by the way. So Thieves, again, finding ways to lose. They've done this on LAN, they're doing it online. Clay goes down, TJ goes down, no trades. And you're like, it's chalk. I thought it was chalked. 100% I thought this was over at this point. Fellow, somehow gets 1. I don't know where Nastie's going, to be honest. Do we need to be running down there and chatting? I don't think so. All of a sudden, it's a 2 versus 3. Gwyn finds 1 and runs away. And then Gwyn makes a great play hitting the super long wrap, gets behind them, gets a free 2-piece, and it goes to round 11. And then in the round 11, Thieves just kind of, I don't know, they pussied out as far as I'm concerned. They didn't really hold the B cross properly. They allowed the guys to get the bomb down at B for free, in effect. Clay then got caught in the back because there was 3 guys flanking, but, the retake attempt from Thieves was just a little bit too slow, and Ravens had the perfect setup, and they got to get the victory. So I was honestly so happy they won this. Like, I couldn't have... it would have pained me to look at Clayster's face having lost 4 Game 5s in a row. But, I mean, you can see how quickly the Thieves guys are out of their chairs because they know they just bottled that hard. It's a problem they have closing out series, and certainly when it comes to Game 5s. I mean, look at this as well. This is the First Bloods. They won 6 rounds, Ravens, with 3 First Bloods. Almost all of the First Bloods, 8 of the First Bloods went to Thieves, but they won 5 rounds from those 8 First Bloods. So, you know, shocking, really. As Clayster says, GG's Thieves 1-3-2. Gwyn and Tyler are gods for that 2 versus 4, because that was just so influential, right? So Ravens win a series. They get to 130 points. That keeps them in the running. Had they lost this one, it would have been bad. But they've won this series. They're still alive. Thieves, they're probably still going to make it as well, but they have lots to think about. And Ghosty had a surprise, you know, when Ghosty has a poor series here, it ain't looking so good in some of the respawn. I mean, they got slammed in both hardpoints, and then they just embarrassed themselves on the final search and destroy. So wow, what a day of COD. Huge implications. We've got Miami versus Gorillas going on now as well. I'll talk about that one, of course, tomorrow morning, but very much intrigued to your thoughts on all this stuff in the comments below. Hit the like button if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new. Take care, and I'll see you next time.